Hello, and welcome to Authors Amplified. I'm your host, Stephanie O'Neill. My show is a part of the Amplified Podcast Network, where ideas echo and voices resonate. With over 20 years at Christian Television Network, I've had the privilege of meeting countless talented and spiritual individuals, and it's too inspiring not to share. I'm just a girl who loves Jesus wholeheartedly. I'm eager to learn and grow, and I'd like you to join me on this journey. In each episode, I'll be speaking with Christian authors who will share their stories and insights about the books they've written. I'm thrilled to have you with us, so let's get started. Welcome to Authors Amplified. I am so excited to have this guest and this book today. It is so needed in the world that we're living in right now. The author is Gaylyn Williams. She's an executive director of relationship resources, an award-winning, internationally recognized author of 42 books, and a speaker. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you being here with us.
Oh, thank you for the privilege of being with you.
So the book, let's talk about the book. The book is All Stressed Up and Everywhere to Go. And boy, do we live in a world where there is stress.
Yes. It just seems like it just keeps getting more and more. And
Yeah.
People are more and more stressed.
Yeah, everything is moving so quickly. I mean, technology, everything to where we can barely keep up. And I think that's where part of the stress comes from. But you can tell by the way people drive, you can tell by the way people are acting that the stress is just overtaking us sometime.
Yes. Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about you first so that our listeners know who they're listening to and why you would write a book about stress?
Sure. Well, I've experienced just a little bit of stress in my life. I grew up down in Guatemala, which was a challenge, but then I was also a missionary down there when there was open war going on, and we'd go to bed listening to bombs and gunshots and just wondering who was killed, what was blown up last night. So I started young. Well, I started even younger. I was sent away to a boarding school from the time I was 6 to 13.
Oh, wow.
And that was extremely stressful. And then I was in a difficult marriage, had one of my sons, my second son, he only lived 6 months. And it was just really a tough time just watching him. From when he was 3 months old, they told us that he had 6 to 12 months to live, and just caring for him. And every day in his last month or two, he was on high levels of oxygen, and yet not having any idea if he was going to die that day because he was so blue. And then later challenges with my older son, became a single mom, raised them from the time they were 4 and 10. And then after my divorce, years later, I met an amazing man, and we were supposed to get married. And a month before we were to be married, he was killed in a motorcycle accident.
Whoa.
So those are just a few of the challenges. And so I started training missionaries using these materials with my dad. And I started applying them to my own life, and they've really helped me. I mean, I've been doing this for over 25 years, training people in these skills. And yet when I start to get stressed, I will still go back to them, and they're a whole lot easier once you know what you're doing. I can go through them really fast, but it helps.
Right.
It still helps me. And so after training, well, it's well over 50,000 people. It's probably over 100,000, but I lost track years ago. After training them, and the only way they could get these materials was if they went to a workshop. So I wanted people to be able to have it in a book. I mean, there is something to be said about a workshop still,
Hmm.
but the materials are now available, and I made them in such a way that people can walk through them and apply them on the spot, which
Right.
they don't work if you don't apply them.
Hmm. True. That's true. So you're coming at this from experience, number one. You're not saying, here's what you do, not, and you haven't been there. You've been there, you've done that. And it's not even you telling people what to do and how to do it because it comes from the Bible.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, it's
biblically
all biblical
based.
principles.
Yeah. So let's talk about stress a little bit. How widespread is stress in America today, and why does it just feel so overwhelming?
Oh, the statistics are just ridiculous. I mean, they're just there's like um 5 out of the average that people have, stress levels that people have, is 5 out of 10.
Mm,
And um 25% say that their stress levels are between 8 and 10. I mean, that's just like overwhelming.
hmm.
So, and most people say are struggling with stress. Now, stress is not all bad.
Hmm.
And if you want to talk, we can talk about that some, but
Yes.
it's the bad stress that we're talking about, because it's
Hmm.
when we get overstressed that it becomes bad. Because like with stress, if I didn't have any stress, I would not have gotten out of bed this morning. I would not have gotten dressed. I would not be sitting here
Hmm.
with you all. So we need stress, but we
Hmm.
need to figure out what is the optimal amount of stress in our lives in order to be the most effective.
Right. Well, I feel like right now, especially in the world we're living in, finances probably add a lot to our stress level. But I'm wondering what you feel about social media and stress.
That is huge. In
Hmm.
fact, when I revised the book last year, I put a whole section in there about social media because it is huge. It affects people. Well, it affects people in different ways, but
Hmm.
it can really cause a lot of stress. And I think especially with our young people, with
Hmm.
children and teens, because there's all this comparing themselves with other people, and everybody has to make themselves look a little bit better on there,
Yes.
and which makes you feel worse because you have all these problems, and you don't have, all the good things that they have. So, social media is huge.
Yeah. And comparison is the thief of joy. And most of the time, you're not even seeing the true story of what they're showing. They may be showing what they have, but they're not showing you the debt that they got into to get there, or the fights that they got into you're seeing their A roll. You're not seeing the B roll and the C roll. So you're comparing it, you're not even comparing apples to apples, you're comparing apples to oranges. But I think that has so much to do with our stress levels. I've decided to like start weaning off of social media because of that fact. Because I just feel like it just adds so much negativity, especially now with so many things that are going on and people posting their opinions about things. I think it just adds unneeded stress.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the Lord had me get off of social media for the most part. I haven't posted anything since 2017 when I
Oh,
came back
wow.
from Israel.
Hmm.
So that's another source of stress. I live part-time in Israel.
Oh, wow.
So there's a little bit going on over there.
Right, just a little bit. So let's talk about, how does chronic stress affect people emotionally, spiritually, and physically?
Oh, first off, every person is different.
True.
So it depends on who you are and your makeup, and but it can, like, let's just talk about physically. They have done tests showing, or just showing that most diseases are caused by stress.
Mm,
At the very minimum, they are exacerbated, they're made worse by stress. So, I mean, stress affects so much of us. And yeah, and our emotional, when we're overstressed, it's hard to deal with life.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritually, I mean, if we're too stressed, it can like make us feel like, oh, I don't have time for the Lord. So I need to just get done what needs to be done. And I'll tell you, one of the things I have learned over the years is that the more I have to do, the more I need to spend time with the Lord. And often I need to spend more time with Him when I have too much to do. But then when I spend that time, then I start in on what I'm doing from a place of rest and from a
Mm-hmm.
place of trusting. And then it's just really amazing sometimes how God just makes all the pieces flow together.
Mm-hmm.
So I am able to actually accomplish more from having taken that time to just be with the Lord.
Right. I feel as Christians also we might feel like, well, I'm stressed, so obviously I'm not trusting the Lord. So we're beating ourselves up for that, and that just adds to the stress.
Yes. Well, and that can be true, but it doesn't help to beat ourselves up with it.
Right, exactly. So what makes your biblical approach different? And that's the part I love the most about all of this. What makes your biblical approach different from typical stress solutions?
Well, we have in the book, there's over 500 scriptures on lots of different topics related to stress. We also have six main skills that people can walk through. They're simple. They take a little bit of time, initially,
Mm-hmm.
but they're simple. Like when I go through them on my own, it takes less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just looking at, so it starts off figuring out how what is stressing me, because like if I went to a doctor today and go, hey, doctor, I'm feeling bad, just give me some medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's he's going to laugh at you for one thing, but he can't do anything. But often that's what we want to do. We don't want to figure out what is going on, because to really deal with it, we need to know what is going on. And one of the big things that most people don't recognize is the internal stress that we bring into a situation. So it's stuff like expectations, attitudes, and those can be towards God, ourselves, others, the situation. So we bring those in, but also we have sore spots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're from like can be from trauma, from pain, from anything from our childhood or beyond. But they're things like fear and resentment, rejection, shame, bitterness, guilt, and anxiety. So we bring all those things with us into a new stress situation. So when I write out how what is stressing me right now, it's really pretty amazing because most of the things have to do with this internal stress, the expectations, attitudes, sore spots. So it's things like, that I'm worried about such and such, or, if I'm wanting to be correct, not, Christians don't worry. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But those I write them out, and because it's important to know all the things, because I know some of the times I will think I don't have that much that's going on, so why do I feel so stressed? And then yeah, there's six main skills, and the last one is to just keep our focus
Mm-hmm.
put our focus on the Lord. And Hebrews 12:2 says, let us fix our eyes on Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. And one of the things I love about that is the first word in that, the fixing our eyes. It's one word in Greek. It's apharao, and it has a dual meaning. It means to look towards, but also to look away from. And so when I can't focus on my pile of problems, whatever they may be,
Hmm.
and focus on the Lord, you just
Hmm.
can't focus on both at once. So yeah, it's important to just really turn our eyes on the Lord. And I know when my son was dying,
Mm.
um, I I knew that I needed to just keep my focus on the Lord. And
Mm.
so the Lord used that little song, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. And sometimes I think I sang that song probably 40 or 50 times until I really could take my eyes off of my problems and put them onto him.
Mm. That's
And
powerful.
then he brought joy. It was
Mm.
amazing. My son was still dying. The
Mm.
problem had not changed, but I changed because I
Yeah.
changed my focus.
Right. I love the idea of writing the stressors down, the problems down, the worries down, because I think a lot of times we worry ourselves and stress ourselves about things that never happen. And I think if we had that journal to go back and look at and go, oh, look, never happened, never happened, never happened, maybe we could help change the focus of our mind to not worry about things that haven't happened or may not happen.
Yes, yes. And one of the steps in the process is to go back through, and there's several steps in between, but to go
Mm.
back through this list and mark anything that is junk stress.
Mm.
So that's anything that, and I can't remember the exact definition of it at the moment,
Mhm.
but it's anything that you can get rid of, that you don't have to keep, and it's not it's not sinful to get rid of.
Right.
So like if your spouse is causing you stress, then you can't just get rid of them.
True.
Or your children. Your
Yeah.
children cause you stress. You don't just get rid of them.
Yeah.
But there are, like the worries and fears and anxieties and resentments and all that we don't have to carry.
Mm.
And
Yes.
we need to deal with them.
Yeah.
So to be really honest, I have gone through a lot of inner healing just
Mm.
because of so much grief and trauma, and especially being abandoned when I
Hmm.
was 6 and going to the boarding school and being left there for 13 years, other than vacations. There's been so much, but I want to be as effective for the Lord to the end of my days. um, so I just keep, if something else comes up, then I just bring it to the Lord, or, work through it.
Right. This would be a great book to just keep in your library so that you could just keep going back to those the list of things to do to help yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that in the beginning of the book because when you're stressed, when you're worried, I'm tired, I just want somebody to tell me what to do and how to do it. And at the beginning of the book, you say how to use this book and you give some guidelines. I think that's a great idea because just tell me what to do and tell me how to do it. And that's what you do at the beginning of this book. I love that. And then at the end of every chapter, you say, what can I do today to lower my stress? And so, my question for you is what can people do today to begin lowering their stress?
Oh, um, well, there's lots of things to do. The simplest to start is just to turn your focus on the Lord.
Hmm.
And that is so critical, but it's not the only step. We need to deal with the underlying things. But if there was only one thing I could tell you to do today, um, to just turn your eyes on Jesus. But then also just take some time, take a Sabbath, you
Hmm.
know, and rest. it's okay to rest. You become
Yes.
more rejuvenated
Mm-hmm.
as you take the time to rest.
Yep.
Which, sometimes when we're too overstressed, we want to just keep going and get everything done, but we need that time just to be.
Right. I mean, I think if we feel like if we stay busy, that maybe we won't be focused on our problems where it just adds more because we're so busy. So it's okay to get off of social media. It's
Yes.
okay to take a break. It's okay to take a breath and to just
It's not
focus
only
on,
okay, you need to.
yes. I just think we're so busy right now trying to keep up with the Jones that we're not realizing what we're doing to ourselves and our children and our spouses when we're doing that.
Yeah. One of the things I've heard people say, not recently, but I've heard quite a few people say, I'd rather burn out than rust out. Well, excuse me, either way, you're out.
Yeah.
I want to run the race to the end.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a whole section in there that about burnout and how do you know if you're in burnout, symptoms of burnout, and how do you start to get back from burnout.
Yeah.
But then there's also a whole section on margin, which margin, if you don't know what it is, it's like it's the white space on a page.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot of white space, but
Mm-hmm.
around the edges. And now, if I had written this book and had the writing go all the way to the top and all the way to the sides, that would be overwhelming. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what we like to do with our lives. But just as we need white space on books or whatever we read, we also need that margin, the white space, the downtime in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
So we need that on our time, our emotions, our energy, as well as finances.
Yes.
So that, yeah.
For sure. I've been saying a lot lately. I want to take a step back. I want to like grow vegetables and make bread and just do simple things like that and
Uh-huh.
go back to a time like that instead of just working and making dinner and doing the dish like stepping back and taking a breath.
Yes.
Doesn't it sound wonderful?
Yes.
So where can people get your book? And also I believe they could get 52 free stress management tips.
Yes. You can go to my website, the ministry website. It is relationshipresources.org. That's relationshipresources.org. And on the homepage, about halfway down the page, is a place where you can get the stress tips. And then there's also a tab for books. And you can go on there and find out more about the book and get the book.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate the book. It's so needed. And I know you said you wrote it with your father, right? Well,
Yes.
that was special.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today on Authors Amplified. I truly, truly appreciate you and your time.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be on here. And I
And
just
God,
pray blessings on you and your whole audience.
thank you so much. The book is called All Stressed Up and Everywhere to Go by Gaylyn Williams. Gaylyn Williams. And so thanks for tuning in to Authors Amplified. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and subscribe for more incredible authors next time.